One of the biggest difference I see in the corporate world and in a high-performing sporting environment is feedback. And it's fascinating. And feedback is a learned skill, don't get me wrong, but it is fascinating that we see feedback is such a negative often in the corporate world. Now, I've been getting feedback since I was about 16 or 17 going to the Fitzroy Football Club. So for me, I don't really call it negative or positive, to be honest, although most of it was pretty negative when I first started playing football, but it was just feedback. Now, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about feedback. One of them is often we don't know what the feedback is we're giving or getting. Now, I remember when I first started Performance by Design, I got a phone call and this guy was inquiring about what we do, et cetera, et cetera. And he said to me, oh, we had a feedback session yesterday. I said, oh, okay, how'd that go? He said, well, we had an external facilitator come in and we gave each other feedback. And I said to him, well, what was the feedback based on? He said, oh, well, what do you mean? I said, well, what was the framework for giving feedback? He said, oh, we didn't really have one. I said, well, how did the feedback session go? He said, not good. Good example. All right, so what we have to create is really clear set of guidelines about what we're giving feedback on, what our culture code is, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what are our technical KPIs. And that's why at a football club, the Monday review was not that difficult because the expectations were really clear going into the game on the weekend. The behaviours were really clear through our culture code, the Bloods culture, and our technical KPIs were really clear as well, what we had to tick off. So come Monday, there wasn't a lot of ambiguity around it, and there wasn't, to be honest, a lot of surprise with the players. So firstly, you've got to set really, really clear expectations. The other thing about feedback is that the connotation has to be negative. It doesn't have to be negative. So use positive feedback. Well done. Thanks for that. That was great. Because if we're negative all the time, it's like the boy that cried wolf, right? So set clear parameters. And then the other thing I want to talk about is right way, right time, right place. Right. So for us, the review was Monday. We come in, we do it in a controlled environment, and then we do our individual reviews Monday afternoon and Tuesday with the players. The most volatile time is clearly after a game of football when emotions are running really, really high. And that's the worst time to give feedback. One thing I'll leave you with, if you're a leader and you don't have to give feedback under pressure, don't. All right, because it's the worst time to give feedback and we can destroy relationships. If you do, find a mechanism to calm yourself down, all right, become more analytical, and then understand what you're giving the feedback on. And then, because feedback should be about influence, we shouldn't give feedback just to make us feel better, right? The purpose of the feedback is to influence, to improve the person we're giving feedback to as an individual and to improve us collectively. Finally, give feedback because we care.